Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 22 of the X-Squadron podcast, where we discuss sci-fi movies, TV shows, comics, video games. I'm Mr. Anicelli. I have with me my X-Squadron. I got Pegno.
Hello.
I got BSAP.
Hello there.
I got Pagano.
Good evening.
I got Demo.
Hello.
And I have our very, very special guest today, Mr. Ventrella.
Hello.
He is a Star Wars, sci-fi, comic book, superhero expert. Also, art teacher here at Xavier High School. So thank you very much, Mr. Ventrella, for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
We could have had you on any number of shows. Today's show happens to be our review of Rogue One, Star Wars Rogue One, which we saw over the weekend. You can follow us on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, at XSquadPod. Please email us any questions, comments, Stump the Sap questions and show topics, or anything you want to hear us discuss at xsquadpod@gmail.com. You can listen to us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play by searching X-Squadron Podcast. I'd like to say thanks to Andrew Brooks and William Shelton and Corey Sheridan and Chris Gentililla for helping make our logos and our banners, doing our social media channels like Twitter and Facebook and YouTube. Also, Esteban Rivera for running our website, which is xsquadron.weebly.com, so go check that out. I want to give Comic Book Jones a shout-out for giving us our comic books for our giveaways, and we want to give a special thanks to
Christian St. Bonaventure, as always.
Thanks for letting
college.
BSAP into college. We appreciate that. No one else would. We can count on you. Quick thing. Friday, we had our second annual movie marathon.
Successful.
Great success.
I think it went very, very well. Our first movie marathon last year was Star Wars. We did episode 4, 5, and 6.
Good ones.
So the ones that matter. That was in anticipation of The Force Awakens last year. This year, we decided to go with Back to the Future. And that was great because a whole bunch of kids haven't seen that movie yet, which I was really surprised about. So I'm kind of glad I was part of that, like their first showing of it.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting to hear that many of them hadn't seen it.
Yeah. Got a bunch of giveaways. We gave away a 115th scale DeLorean that lit up. Nice. That was pretty cool. What else did we give away?
We gave away a shirt. We gave away the Blu-ray discs.
And the Funko.
And the Funko.
Yeah, Blu-ray disc trilogy set. 30th anniversary trilogy set for only $30 on Amazon.
Wow.
Couldn't believe it. That was a good giveaway. But yeah, it was a good time. Any news for us today, Matt?
I got some. Well, after the disaster last week, we had some news on that we didn't.
No one knows about the disaster.
It didn't happen.
What?
So there's a Gotham Sirens movie that they're making, and it's starring Margot Robbie, and it's directed by David Ayer, and I really don't like this at all. Because David Ayer had a very poor outing, and I think that was a general consensus. And Margot Robbie was good, but I don't think that she can carry an entire movie.
This is a movie. I thought it was a TV show.
This is a movie, and it's probably going to be Catwoman and Poison Ivy. Those are the usual suspects in that group. Mm-hmm. Megan Fox is rumored to play. Poison Ivy, and they might get.
But she's not a redhead. Poison Ivy's got to be a redhead.
Yeah, Poison Ivy has to be like a
darker
very
hair.
redhead.
Oh, they got these things called wigs, I think.
Oh, stop it, Mr. Ventrella.
Yeah, Kate Mara's wig and Fan Forstick looked great.
Who?
In who?
Fan Forstick.
Who?
Fantastic Four.
Fan Forstick.
Oh, goodness.
Good
They spelled it.
Lord.
Yeah.
That was
Where's the bell? Ring the bell. There you go.
For me?
Yeah, for you.
Yes.
Why? You don't know who that is?
No, Fan Forstick.
That's how they spelled it. It's
Wrong.
not my choice.
Anyway, move along.
Move along.
Move along. Move along.
These aren't the droids you're looking for.
I
These
don't-
aren't the jokes you're trying to tell.
Good Lord.
All right. The Planet of the Apes trailer. Did you guys see this?
Yes. War for the Planet of the Apes.
This looks incredible.
Does
think?
it,
I
does
think
it
this
really?
is
No, it
yes. I think
doesn't.
this is one of the strongest sci-fi franchises of like the past 10
Someone
years.
looks underwhelmed.
Looks like another Planet of the Apes movie.
Wait, did
Which
you say this
isn't
is one?
much. Which
You a
isn't
fan
much.
of the originals? Have you seen
I'm
the
Yeah,
originals?
I love the
I'm a fan of the
originals.
originals, and I love the direction they've been taking this franchise.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
I really like the James Franco one, and I really, really like the one that they released like 2 summers ago.
The first one is the only one that I've seen.
That's the James-
second one
James
was worth-
Franco-
The second one was
Rise of the
worth
Planet?
Second one was really good.
Second one was okay.
seeing. First one was Rise. Second one was
Dawn.
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 I
and
love
now
it.
is Battle
War.
4.
War
for the.
4.
Okay.
I only saw Rise, and I was not too impressed.
Yeah, it's a meh.
I mean,
was really impressed.
Planet of the Apes, the originals, I got into them late. It wasn't like I saw them when I was a kid.
Yeah.
But I kind of was able to appreciate them, I think, on a different level because as an adult, you see sort of a lot of the social commentary and stuff like that. And I always respect when people just try something different, you know?
Yeah.
Second movie was sort of a remake of the first, but then I feel like they sort of, I don't know, took it in interesting directions. But I have yet to see the second one, so maybe it's time to do that.
I mean, I love like apes on horsebacks with machine guns. I think that's just a really cool concept. So being in that movie just makes it for me.
I kind of like the original look of the apes more. 'Cause they were kind of humanoid.
Well, that's the point.
Yeah.
This is a prequel.
This is the transition.
This is
but
so I think
you know how they talk?
When you say original, you mean original in this
No,
iteration of the franchise, or
just
the original
original Planet of the Apes.
Oh, without the CGI.
like why
You know how they talk, and you know how
yeah, they're like
apes
actual humans
have-
with masks
have
on.
those mouths
Yeah.
that prevent them from speaking the way that we do and articulating the way that we do. And you know how in the movies they still talk
Perfect English.
like
They don't speak perfect English.
They talk good.
they talk
well.
good.
Caesar can say like 4 words.
Yes, but he can still say them.
Right.
And he struggles to say them every time. I mean, it's a progression. And he took the magic juice.
Okay.
Are you really arguing with
Yes.
the Planet of the Apes movie on a
Yes.
scientific level?
Yes.
As he does with most things.
You are lost.
I love people that want realism in their science.
I'm like, this is a
Wait
movie
a
about
minute, that could possibly happen.
The
I'm just
physics is
saying.
all off.
Yeah. People shoot each other
the
with
mouth
I-beams.
articulation,
I'm
the
just
tongue
saying.
could not possibly form words like that.
Just saying, I like my humanoid apes.
I just feel like these movies just aren't at the level where they're gonna be blockbusters. Like,
No.
I don't think that's
I
the
don't
point,
see
though.
it competing with Star Wars or
That's not the
Jurassic
point.
Park.
they're entertaining.
Yeah.
They're entertaining movies that
I
come
wouldn't
out.
go to the movies and see them though.
No,
I'll wait till
no,
they come
no.
out.
Same.
All right. I'm just
20
a big,
bucks to see.
I have some news.
I'm a big advocator.
You got some news?
I do. So, Michael Giacchino, I bet you had this on there.
No, but this is the point. I go through this at 11:30 at night, and then you're like, "Oh, on my little Samsung Galaxy, I have a little bit of news."
I have my news.
I'm gonna have to do some editing.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, John.
I have my news.
What you got?
So, Michael Giacchino, who we all know, and as you pointed out to us, he was the composer for Rogue One
Yes.
and Jurassic World and a variety of Pixar films, Doctor Strange, and he was confirmed to be the composer for War for the Planet of the Apes as well. He's just been brought back for Jurassic World 2.
Oh.
So I don't know. What do you guys think of him as a composer? I know you were disappointed
Yeah, I was
in his performance for Rogue One.
I gotta be honest. I don't pay attention to the music that much.
Really?
See, but that's the thing. Music makes Star Wars, and I just didn't think. Now he had little time to write a score. He only had 4 weeks, but I didn't think it was. It wasn't memorable.
We could talk about the Rogue One score more
Yeah, we'll
later.
talk about it.
I think he was great in like Jurassic World though.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
I
but-
have
and Doctor
Absolutely.
Strange.
Didn't he reuse the original theme?
It was modified, and there was the original theme was there, but he also had his own music as well, and I thought the music was good,
I'm not watching that movie for the songs. I'm watching it for the T-Rex in the end.
which is
dominant
which is perfectly fine. Yeah.
What?
this song.
It's not Mary Poppins.
Feed the birds.
That's a good song.
I love that.
Saw it last night.
But that is a anyway. What you got? What's you got?
Thank you for ruining that segment that we had planned. For
I didn't ruin anything. But God,
The Fate of the Furious trailer.
We don't have plans.
Okay.
I love this franchise.
Do
too.
you?
This
I don't-
franchise is amazing. It's got The Rock.
I love the Fast and Furious franchise more than
Why?
most sci-fi. I love it more. First of all, I love it more than Back to the
Din
Future.
Diesel.
It's much. You're gonna hate me for this. It's better than Back to the Future.
Wrong.
Incorrect.
It is. It is. I'm sorry. It is. I told you. When I rate movies.
Wrong.
And the way I enjoy movies.
Yeah.
You're still
finding
triggered.
You really said that?
I do, and
You're getting the mic mute.
Look, he's impressed the way they managed to work
you know-
into the title of the movie.
No,
Fate
no,
of
no.
the
That I.
Oh, I see what you did.
Yeah, no. That was pretty stupid.
That's clever.
But
I don't know what
Careful
this
not to choke on
franchise.
your ambitions.
when I watch movies,
Yeah.
and at the end I say, wow, what did I like about this movie? Or was I actually entertained by it? Every single Fast and the Furious movie, except for the third one and the fourth one, thoroughly entertained me.
Okay.
And I really have fun watching them. I really like cars, and I like big action scenes, and I like guns and all that stuff. So what's not to like about those movies?
The
I
Rock
like all
I
that.
do not
his own
enjoy those
cast
movies.
off.
at
I
You
all.
don't have to, though. I do.
Yeah.
And
I
that's my
don't-
personal opinion.
Speaking about science that doesn't work, in the trailer for this last one, Vin Diesel's in some type of
it's so
yeah.
funny.
Yeah.
Vin Diesel's in like a Mustang or something, whatever it is. Even
so
if it's the most
amazing.
souped up Mustang
It's-
on
it's a
earth, it wouldn't be
1970
able to pull
Dodge
this off.
Charger.
He shoots like grappling hooks from 4 angles, like north, south, east,
No,
west.
no, no. You're
Am I
getting
wrong?
the scene mixed up. It's all the other 4 of them shooting grappling hooks
Yeah,
at
they're shooting
Vin
grappling
Diesel.
All right,
and
fine.
then
And then he backs up.
and flips the car.
Flips every one of the cars over.
That doesn't make any
not,
sense.
Not even close to
But Back to
happening.
the Future makes
Maybe the
sense.
doors
Come
would have
on.
got ripped off.
Back to the Future-
Maybe.
If you're gonna bring that into it, if you're gonna bring like you're trying to bring science into it.
I'm not. I'm just.
Okay,
I'm
so
just messing around.
exactly.
Can someone
So
explain?
what's wrong? If I enjoy them, what's wrong
This
with
is
them?
one of those franchises, and I will admit that I have seen none of them, but I have no interest in seeing any of them.
I agree.
Yeah.
And I don't know
they're
how
great.
it's made it as far as it has.
I agree
Because it
100%.
It stumps me and
You
it
know why?
stupefies me.
People love souping up cars like idiots.
Yeah.
I agree.
Anyone
Yep,
who
because it's
likes
really
to
entertaining.
get an old Honda Civic from 1995 and putting a stupid spoiler on the back,
Which-
those people,
which has no
there are
effect
lots
on
of them,
them. I know.
and they love this stuff. They eat it up.
Don't
Ask
get-
George Costanis. I bet you he loves these movies. You know George? You know George?
I do.
Oh, is he the guy who
What's
just
more
comes in here and
entertaining-
talks
I thought
about
you were
cars?
going to say
Yes.
George Costanza.
No, George Costanis.
What's more entertaining than watching The Rock rip a minigun off a helicopter and shoot stuff with it?
Back to
Come
the
on.
Future.
No.
gonna beat you like an Indian drug.
Can someone?
Watching.
And I'm
Come on,
like,
that's
all right,
hilarious.
all
So
right, now
funny.
I'm gonna take a nap and wake me when Rogue One starts. It's
Hilarious.
ridiculous.
Can
What-
someone please explain what these movies are about?
No
I
one
still
knows.
don't know.
About 2
I don't
hours.
know.
You know,
No.
if you watch them, you would know.
Okay, the
So don't
progression
judge them
is
if you've never watched
All I
them.
hear is like family.
what I think is so amazing is that these movies started out as drag racing movies, and now they recruit these guys to be like top secret government
Yeah.
agents.
What if this is the Suicide Squad?
And they're only armed with Mustangs.
It's so funny. It's so ridiculous. It's so funny. And yeah, okay.
What's next?
Anyone have any interest in DuckTales?
No.
'Cause The cast. for
The
this-
original is good.
The original is good, but
is good.
they're doing a reboot.
Are they doing a live
Which
action
isn't
or is
gonna
it
be
a...
No, that'd be so scary. No, but they're doing the show again, and this is a stacked cast.
I love that show.
It's got David Tennant, who played the Purple Man. He's playing Scrooge McDuck.
Jessica!
Yeah, he's that guy. They got the guy who plays Vladimir Putin on it. He's playing an SNL. You know him?
Yeah.
He's playing
Beck
Launchpad.
Bennett. Okay.
He's really funny. Ben Schwartz, who's John Ralphie on Parks and Rec, is in it. There's tons of people in this, and I'm
I hope
shocked.
there's tons of people.
Oh,
in it.
quick plug for Michael Barbieri, our good friend Michael Barbieri, son of Carmela Barbieri. Little Men is on demand now if you guys want to
Oh,
check
it
it
is. I
out.
want to see it. It was only in theaters for 2 nights, and I didn't
Yeah.
get a chance.
So check it out. It's on demand.
Good.
Right, main topic.
All right, so we're up to the main topic. That was quick. Wait a minute. We do that all the time. What are you doing about? Anyway, we're gonna do non-spoilers spoilers.
Between non-spoilers and spoilers, we're gonna have the Rogue One alarm blaring.
Oh, I don't have it anymore. I had to take it off my phone. But that was, I thought, anyway, we'll get to that. So we're going to do a non-spoilers and a spoiler. So first, let's give it a rating. Mr. Ventrella, we do a rating system here called the SAP rating.
Okay.
Okay? So now, you know SAP.
Sure.
BSAP.
Hi, how are you?
The more SAPs you get, the worse the movie is. Oh. You don't want a lot of SAPs.
So a 10 is a 0.
Yeah.
Okay.
Think
So
of
the
like 10
least,
of Brandon.
the less amount, right?
want
If you
that.
have 10
You don't want
Brandons,
that.
that's way more
The less the
irritating
better.
than one Brandon.
Okay.
Right? So, so you want to give a low score here. It's like golf.
Well, assuming you like the movie.
Right. So lower score, the better.
Okay.
So we'll go around the table, give our SAP scores. Matt, you want to start?
I gave it a solid 3 saps.
Give a solid 3 SAPs. Okay.
I gave it 2 saps.
2 SAPs.
2.
2 SAPs.
2.
2 SAPs.
2 steps.
I also give it 2 SAPs. Good. That's
What
really
a
good. That was very
surprise!
consistent.
Techno gives
Yes.
the lowest rating.
In Pegno's
He's the most,
defense, I never defend him. However, this time I see his points. I could see the argument he makes, and we'll get into that.
So, non-spoiler section right now. You can still listen. We'll tell you when spoilers are about to come up. I'll put a little warning sign there. First thing, Mr. Ventrella, would you mind telling us what the movie was about?
Well, the movie was about a young lady named Jyn Erso, who is the daughter.
No spoilers.
Well, is that considered a spoiler?
No, it's in the book. It's in the book
Thought it was
Catalyst.
very well
General
known.
overview.
I didn't read Catalyst.
a good book. I can lend it to you.
Okay, thank you. I've gotten to
Have
a
you
point
ever heard
where
the band Catalyst?
where I quit.
They're
I
even
heard
better.
they had an excellent guitar player.
You should check them out.
I gotten to a point where I'm not reading the tie-in stuff because I'm kind of sick of all that, and I'd rather just sort of get my entertainment from the film itself. But I guess yes. So okay, so it's well known that this girl is the daughter of the man who designed or helped build the Death Star. She is liberated by the rebels from the prison where she's at, and she is told that the rebellion is looking for her father. And now we begin a sort of a spy type of scenario where certain people have certain orders, and one group thinks they're doing one thing, one group thinks they're doing another thing. And they change locations a few times to fulfill certain parts of the story, and it ends up in a big free-for-all where the fate of the Death Star plans are up for grabs.
Right. So the rebellion's trying to get the plans for this Death Star,
Which we know they eventually
which
do.
we know they eventually get. If you've seen Episode 4 or Star Wars as we know it, they blow up the Death Star. Spoiler alert for Episode 4 if you haven't seen it.
Insult. to
They
injury.
want to, Luke fires his, what are they called? Torpedoes?
Proton cannon.
torpedoes.
Proton torpedoes into the exhaust port of the Death Star. and
It's
blows
only
it
the
up.
size of a womp rat at home.
Yeah, you're right.
meters wide.
But they had plans for that, and this is how they got the plans. Let's go through the cast. So Felicity Jones as Jyn Erso.
We'll go
How do-
around. We'll
how do
go
we
around the
feel?
table.
Because most people don't want to know who's in the movie.
What?
Well, everyone knows who the main character Felicity Jones is, no?
Yeah, if you don't know if you don't know the cast, sorry.
I mean, I know
that-
people who have like refused to look at a poster and closed their eyes every time they saw Star Wars on the street. So
That's-
Did they go to the school?
yeah,
Really?
yeah.
Well, they beat Felicity Jones.
I agree. Let's move on.
Jyn Erso. How do we like her?
I liked her more than I like Rey.
Ooh.
I agree with you in the sense that she was a better actress, I think.
Yes.
I think she acted better than Rey.
Rey was a bit kind of like it took me out of it a little bit sometimes.
You know that Jyn had training.
Yeah.
And
she was
that's
also,
why
she was
she's
also
so
a
good.
badass.
Yeah, she was a badass. but she was trained to be a badass.
Yeah, by Saw Gerrera.
By Saw Gerrera. So I can buy the fact that she's a badass.
Yeah.
I had a lot of trouble buying that Rey
Yeah, I
was a
didn't see
Jedi
it.
in 10 minutes.
Yeah, went head to head with Ren.
I always felt like
Rilo Ken?
I'm gonna not disagree with. I don't know that I have a favorite of the two female protagonists. I liked Rey. I thought that she was a good character. I did not buy into all the Mary Sue nonsense and whatever. I mean, the hero of a story is always going to have certain, abilities. That's sort
That's
of
what makes
written.
them a compelling
It's
hero.
written into fiction. I mean,
Right.
Batman should have been killed a long time ago, and Indiana Jones should have contracted some sort of malarial disease at some
John-
point.
John
What I mean?
McClane
You want to
should
bring
be-
realism into these things, stuck in a shaft somewhere.
John McClane should have broken glass all
Sure,
over his body.
sure. So I mean, that stuff doesn't bother me because that's part of the adventure. I don't know where Jyn falls into this because sort of Force Awakens was about Rey, and she felt like even though the story revolved around Jyn, it always felt like she was part of this ensemble. I don't know. I don't know that we got to know Jyn Erso as much as
Yeah.
Good point.
Rey, but I thought that the performance was fine. I didn't have a problem really with anyone in the film.
Yeah.
I mean, she's all right. I mean, I guess I give her like a tie.
Meh?
She's a meh. I mean, she's like the same as Rey to me. Like we saw like some struggles, but it wasn't like a compelling struggle. Like Rey wanted to leave her planet, and I guess Jyn had like no parents or whatever, like everyone else. But it's same old to me.
I thought she was great. However, I think with the entire cast and given the only 2 hours we had in the movie, I don't think there was the ability to develop a character arc. So in that, I didn't feel.
Wait, you don't think you can develop a character arc in 2 hours?
No, in the difference,
Have you seen any movie ever?
Well,
No,
I think he's talking in the context
Just
of an
in
ensemble.
in this.
If you talk
or
about,
a
like-
trilogy, I think.
if you talk about Star Wars and New Hope, you had a connection to Luke and Leia. There was just something there that
In Lord of the Rings, you develop a connection in the first
30 minutes.
30
Yeah.
minutes.
it's different for each
With
franchise.
13 characters.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, and don't even get me started on The Godfather, which has 25 characters, and you like at least 10 of them.
Granted, you have a month and a half.
But I
to
do,
get to know.
I do see what you're saying.
There was just it's hard to say right now because we're not doing the spoiler section, but when things happened,
So then don't say it.
when things happened in the movie, you didn't have an emotion towards it because you weren't
You weren't attached to them.
yeah, you're damn.
By the end, you did, I think.
Yeah,
but
by
we'll,
the
we'll talk
end,
about that.
maybe.
What about Cassian Andor? Diego Luna played.
I thought he was great.
Yeah?
Did a fantastic job.
Okay.
Could take him or leave him.
Yeah, that's how I felt.
All these
He was
characters,
fine.
I feel, are very take or leave.
Yeah.
Okay.
I feel like they should have focused it a little more. Maybe choose 2 or 3 because there were too many people to care about, and I didn't care about any of them.
Quite-
There was only 5.
Quite the
No,
contrary.
there were one.
I like how they did it because I didn't want to develop too much of an attachment to them. I didn't feel there was a need to because I like the idea that they're all part of that larger rebellion and the fact that none of the 5 of them, if there was, I don't know, was it 5?
Yeah.
Of the 5 of them, there's no real most important character, and the fact that they're all, is this no spoilers still?
Yeah, no spoilers.
Okay. I like that the fact that they're all part of the larger rebellion.
Okay.
I don't see a need to have a larger, more important character.
Now, let me ask you guys one question before I even say this character's name, because I tried not to watch anything that had to do with this movie. So honestly, everything that we spoke about so far, I had no idea was in the movie. And this character, I didn't know was in the movie. Did you guys know that was in the movie?
Yes.
What's the
I
name? I
did
can't
not.
say it.
K2SO.
Yeah, he was all over
Oh.
the posters. That's all.
Yeah?
That's the only reason I knew.
That's not a...
I had no
Like,
idea.
I'm not letting anything out there out of the bag there if I say that
no.
character?
Don't know.
No, he was in a clip they released. So it's
To be
fair
fair,
game.
I had no idea,
They
but
made
I
a lot
don't
of
think
toys
it.
of him.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah,
I
there's a
don't
lot
think
of
it would take
toys.
away.
Yeah, all right, there's a
Or
droid.
anything.
There's a
Yeah,
droid.
droid.
in
I mean, he
the
offers
movie.
some comic relief.
Yeah, he's there for some
I mean-
comic relief. How'd you like the new droid?
He was my favorite character.
I was very surprised that none of these model droids appeared in any of the New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, or Return of the Jedi films.
Yeah, that's sort of the danger of what they do by time jumping like
Yeah.
this, is that you're sort of forced to dig up these old designs and old characters, but at the same time trying to come up with something new.
And
then the
product.
question is begged, well, why didn't we see that? Why did we never see
Yeah.
these
I
troopers
think you can
or the other
overlook it.
I
troopers?
think the answer should be, who cares?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Just sit back and enjoy it.
be
exactly.
fair.
It's escapist fiction. Let's not get too hung up on it.
And I don't think this droid, I don't think they tried to make it like C-3PO or
No.
It's like the exact
R2-D2.
opposite.
Well, do you know who did the voice for that character?
Alan Tudyk.
You know who that is? Do you ever watch Firefly?
No.
He's one of the pilots, right? Or if you ever saw a movie called Death at a Funeral, he's the guy who accidentally takes acid or some kind of LSD, and is tripping at a funeral while everyone is
Mourning.
It's pretty funny. Yeah,
really
it's a British film. They remade it in the States. British version I like a little bit better, but he's a very funny. He's a very funny guy, and came through in the character. It was very dry humor, I thought, but funny.
I think he's the most apt of all the droids. Like he can do the most things. He was definitely because he can
He could fight.
Yeah, he could really fight. Like
Yes.
he's useful.
Yes.
I felt more of a connection to him than any of the characters.
Well, it's funny you say that because I was listening to a radio show, just driving to
Work.
not work. I was driving to a supermarket or something, and they were talking about the movie, and they said one guy was like ripping the movie apart, and he's like, when a droid is your favorite part of the movie, that's when you know it's not a good movie. And I'm like, did you ever hear of R2-D2?
No, that's when you know you're watching a Star Wars.
Ever heard of
movie.
the Iron
Exactly.
Giant?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I was like, well, this guy obviously isn't a.
Pacific Rim.
You're ignorant.
But
Transformers.
yeah, I thought he was good.
I foresee that there will be a lot of new droids. When
Oh,
they keep
yes.
bringing out these,
Yeah.
the Indiana,
Comic relief.
the Han Solo film, and whatever else they decide to do.
Mr. Ventrella, I think we need to talk about the Han Solo film after this.
Okay.
I
There's
have
a lot
it
to be
on-
said.
I have it on the list. Don't worry.
I just can't wait till in real life we get to the point where we could implant personalities into automated systems.
Skynet?
That's so cool.
Are you talking about the
Like the-
CGI trickery in this film?
No, I'm saying the droids. Like all the droids.
Oh,
Like C-3PO has a very distinct personality.
Jarvis.
Like, if you've ever read, you need to read the Darth Vader comic from Marvel, because
I know.
Oh, it's so
if
excellent.
you've ever read
So
it,
excellent.
which early on in the series, he acquires, he employs this character called Dr. Aphra. She's like a sort of Indiana Jones archaeologist type,
Yeah.
Right.
and she discovers for Darth Vader these two droids who are like the dark C-3PO and R2-D2. One is
So
an
funny.
assassin bot named 000.
I don't
and
remember the
he-
names.
And he
Yeah,
he likes killing people, he's always making jokes about it. He
Yeah,
has like
like
a needle in his finger and stuff that he uses. And then the other one is BT.
Yeah,
who's,
the
some
R2-D2.
sort of like an astromech, but
he's
a
got, like,
weapons
rocket
droid.
launchers.
So he's got like flamethrowers and rockets, and it's pretty fun to watch.
Yeah, and they
those two.
curse and they're like.
I don't curse, but they
do curse at each other.
Do they?
Yeah.
Well, the guy is bleeped a lot,
What's
so I
the
guess
name?
that means he's cursing.
That's the way.
What's the name of the thing I can get to have all the comics on one thing on one book? You were telling me.
Oh, a trade paperback?
I gotta look at that.
Oh yeah, they're well worth it. Yeah.
Yeah, and that series is over, so you got plenty of time.
So they have it on. They have it on.
25 issues. I think 4 or 5 books.
Yeah,
And
probably have
Vader
4 or
down.
5 trades. They usually do like 6 to 8.
All right.
issues
I'll
in a
have to-
trade.
I'll have to look for it.
What about Donnie Yen? I can't pronounce the character.
Donnie Yen?
Shirat Imwe.
The actor, I love the actor.
Yes.
He was in Ip Man, and
He was.
and Ip Man 2 and
And he's
Ip
in
Man 3.
He's in.
And
If you saw the trailer, he's the Asian man
All it
wielding
is the
wielding a
Force wills it.
staff.
Yes.
kind of like a bow staff
Exactly.
looking thing.
All I know is that I can't stop singing. Here comes Donnie Yen again with liquor and drugs. But she, what do you call what is that song? The Iggy Pop song, "Lust for Life." Starts off with Johnny
He's
Yen.
by
and
Catalyst.
I can't keep plugging this guy's name in there. By
Yeah.
Catalyst.
I thought he was a good character.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
really liked
It
him.
was cool.
It's
I always
interesting
like-
to see a monk type that wasn't an actual Jedi.
I always liked that.
he was
the,
a-
the martial artist kind of character.
It's interesting. There's a little Easter egg to George Lucas in the original Star Wars. He's the one, him and his friend Baze, who we'll talk about, I guess, later.
Yeah, he's next.
They were protectors of the Church of the Wills, which incidentally was one of
the horrid title. for
Journal of the
original.
Wills.
Journal of the Wills. So it's like one of hundreds of Easter eggs and cameos from the original trilogy.
Yeah, the original title, Luke
Luke Starkiller
Starkiller and the
as taken from the Journal of the Wills, Episode 1.
Subsection A, paragraph 3.
George Lucas is like, I was just too long to
I
fit
just
on
told-
that. That was the title I wanted.
I'm just telling my story.
The last person that I think we should bring up is Forrest Whitaker's character, Saul Guerrera.
Wait, what about Baze Malbus, the unforgettable Baze Malbus?
He kind of just brought him up.
He was
Guy
kind of
with
forgettable.
gun.
Guy with gun.
Guy with gun.
That's his character.
He was fine.
Yeah, he was cool.
He was a nice counterpart to the monk.
Yeah.
You know?
They were friends. You saw that they had a friendship. I was a little disappointed in Forrest Whitaker's character.
Yeah.
Considering a lot of the trailer
Yeah.
kind of hyped him up to be more than in the movie.
Did you ever watch the episode of Clone Wars that he's in?
I don't watch any of those
Oh,
cartoons.
you need to.
Yeah, huh?
If you are at all interested in look, it's no secret that I hate the prequels.
Right.
I tell anybody who listens sometimes on the train, you know. But I really feel that a lot of the reason for that is because Lucas tried to, one man show it, and when he brings on people who can kind of bring something to the table in terms of story or visuals or whatever, it makes all the difference in the world. That's why the original two films, in my opinion, were the best of the lot, because they had what a brain trust of creative power he had around him. So a lot of those people are working on the Rebels cartoon, not the same from the
Right.
movies, but I mean that type of creative
Yeah,
type.
right. Yeah, and Rebels
And so
has been
there's a
great.
lot of, the storylines are compelling. Anakin Skywalker and Ben Kenobi and all those guys are fleshed out way better in the cartoon than they ever were on film.
Yes, Master.
They're just fun and they're interesting. Yeah, right?
I love that show.
Oh, Sir Obi-Wan will be very grumpy if he sees me do this. I hate him. But anyway, you need to watch those. And Rebels sort of picks up where that left off. And
Just
Rebels
curious,
is
have
great.
you have you
It's
seen like how
fantastic.
much of the Clone Wars have you seen?
I watched all of it.
You have?
I only started watching it. I actually owned 4 seasons on DVD, made it about halfway through and never watched them for whatever reason. And then when Rebels came out and I realized they were doing callbacks to Clone Wars, I said, well, now I got to watch this
Have
thing.
you seen the
one of the
hidden Netflix season?
Yes, with
Season
Yoda
6?
going to the Sith
You're
planet
the
and all that
only
stuff.
person besides myself who has seen and liked the whole thing.
I've
I
seen
give
them
you
all.
props
Yeah,
for
because that
I
season
really love
starts
that
off
show.
actually with the beginning of the end, where one of the troopers realizes that he sort of goes crazy, and they realize that they have the
Yeah,
implants
our
in their
Trooper
brain.
Fives finds out what like the whole Order 66 thing,
because his thing goes off early.
and Palpatine realizes this,
Yeah.
and has him killed before he can reveal it to Anakin and Captain
Doesn't
Rex.
he walk right up to a Jedi on the battlefield and,
And
just shoot her in the
executes
head?
him. Yeah.
So everyone kind of was like, well, what'd you do? And then they realize, well, there's something. And then, of course, there's a cover-up because
Wow.
everyone, who worked
It's a
on
really
the
good
clones
arc.
is in on the thing. So it's
Shifty
really,
sheav.
it's really.
Are they all on Netflix?
Yeah.
They're
Yes,
all on Netflix.
all
So
of
you can
them.
watch the
It's-
entirety
it's
of
How
Star
many
Wars.
quality
in
stuff.
6 seasons.
Yeah.
I'll give it a try over the break.
And
see if I can
Rebels
get
is
it.
excellent.
Really good.
Rebels is great.
But anyway, what we started talking about, so Saw Gerrera is one of the characters. I couldn't tell you what
In
season,
season
what
five.
episode.
Season
is it?
five.
5?
Season 5.
Where actually the Republic at that point goes to their planet and teaches them how to fight. So I think
Onderon.
Anakin Skywalker directly meets this Saw Gerrera, who's a kid at the time, and
Doesn't he tell him how to blow up tanks?
they
Yeah,
show them how to
yep.
jump into the tanks and throw bombs into them to blow up the crankers. But yeah, I don't know. They might have done a little bit more, but you know what?
I didn't think he was necessary
Well,
because I think they just did it for all the fanboys
well,
and girls.
on one level, it's cool that they try to do that. But I also feel like it was that kind of, for me anyway, that made this movie a
Bridge the
very
gap.
kind of, Well, it made it, in my mind, very clear that there were 3 acts to this film. The first act was the Saw Gerrera thing. Second act was Edu. And then the third act, of course, is, the rest of the movie.
Right.
And I just felt like it all kind of, it's not just blindly, well, we got to go here, now we got to go there. It was like there was a reason everything kind of played out, and it played into the history. And why not grab a character and bring them to the screen? I thought that was kind of cool. Underutilized, maybe, but it's an ensemble piece, so not everyone's going to get equal time.
I agree.
I think based on the deleted scenes we saw, like from the trailers, there was probably some more Saw Gerrera in there too.
The reshoots were very evident in this movie.
I felt like the trailer was like the whole trailer wasn't in the movie.
Yeah, none of
I
that.
was
Well, a
waiting
lot
for
of
that
it
TIE
was.
fighter thing to happen, right? And it never did.
Never happened.
Oh, is that a spoiler?
No, it
No,
wasn't
it's
in
in the
there.
trailer.
Right?
Fair game.
It's the
It's an
opposite.
anti-spoiler.
It's the opposite of a spoiler.
Anything
That's
in,
right.
It's a lie.
anything in the trailer is fair game.
Okay.
What about the CGI? How do we like CGI?
Well, I think we're gonna
Wait,
get to
wait, wait,
Is that
spoilers.
spoiler?
Yeah, that's a
Is that
spoiler.
that's-
We
that's-
can't- we got to end
territory?
spoilers right now.
Okay. Where does this one rank in the order of your Star Wars, or do you want to save that till the end?
We'll save it to the
I
end.
think we should save that.
Okay, so spoiler alert. Here we go. Let me do a little spoiler alert.
Picture the Rogue One alarm.
That was me, by the way. That was not a sound card.
Spoilers. So if you haven't seen the movie yet, stop now. Come back later. Come back after you see it, and get your fill of spoilers. So, was it what you expected?
No,
No.
not at all.
Well, is that a good thing or a bad thing?
I'm gonna say it wasn't what I expected in a good way.
Okay.
I'm gonna say no, but in both good and bad.
I'm going to say the same thing Mr. Rice said.
Yeah. I was pleased, even though it wasn't what I expected.
I predicted the story like way back. Remember, I said it was an inside job. We have a digital recording of that, I guess. Yeah, thank you.
Of course you did, Techno.
I did. I predicted it.
Your cookie is in the mail.
Hope so. I guess it was what I expected, but I wasn't pleased that it was. You know what I mean?
What?
No, like I knew what to expect, and I wasn't happy that I got it. Like I wasn't surprised by the film.
No, I understand what he's saying.
You know what I mean?
I had no clue how they were going to do this. I knew what it was about. I knew that they needed to steal the Death Star plans, right? But I thought the rebels handpicked a group of people and said, "Here's
Yeah.
your mission," and these people were the best that they had. That's what I had in mind. And I was like, we're going to pick our best soldiers and we're going to put them on this secret mission, and they're going to go and they're going to do it. And that really wasn't it.
No.
Jyn Erso was not part of the rebellion,
No.
from what I could tell, and she didn't even want to be part of the rebellion, from what I could tell. Cassian was like a double agent kind of thing.
Yeah.
Who he was, the rebels were telling him to do stuff that he didn't tell Jyn that he was going to do, like shooting his father. His mission was to kill.
Well, right off
her
the
dad.
bat, I was a little confused with him in the very first scene he's in. He kills that guy.
Well, he
And
knew
I'm
that-
like, oh, okay. What's going on?
Well, he knew that guy had valuable information, and he knew he was going to get caught, so he had to off him.
I think that also plays into later on in the story where they rally around. I almost keep saying Ray, Jin, and they say, "Look, we've done horrible things," and that was sort of an element you never thought of in the rebellion. I mean, this is war,
Right.
so yeah, a lot of times you realize these guys have to do things that they find distasteful or just plain awful to
Right.
do, and that was kind of their
For the
way
greater good.
of retribution.
I'm glad because we got to see a different side of the rebellion, other than Bothans and.
And that general, not Mon Mothma, the guy under her.
Oh, General. What was his name?
I can't.
I think I have him down here. General Draven.
Yeah,
Was that him?
He's someone, right? He was in something.
He's in New Hope.
no, that's General
Where's-
Dodonna.
Todana, the old guy with the beard.
Yeah.
No, but I mean that actor. I recognize him from
Alistair.
something. Draven.
The one who's like,
Alistair
Jin-
Petrie. Petrie.
you're claiming your name is Lacey, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Jin Erso.
But anyway, he was ruthless.
He was. He was
he seemed
awful.
really
He was
ruthless.
a terrible person.
But yeah, I wasn't expecting that at all. I wasn't expecting a droid. I wasn't expecting as much Darth Vader as we got.
I was expecting more. I was expecting Darth Vader's
wanted
screen time
more.
equivalent to New Hope,
Well,
like 12 minutes.
Matt and I had a discussion about this today.
Yeah, I
and it
wanted
was-
a lot
I don't,
more.
I don't want to step on his lines and ruin
want you
anything he's
directly
planning on
step on
saying. No, but I he was sort of talking about well, they could have done this and Vader could have played this role and that role, and my thoughts are, it's not a Darth Vader film. Darth Vader's in it, and we all love Darth Vader, and we love to see
yeah.
him. And I was certainly waiting the whole time. I told him I was just going to subtitle this movie "Waiting for Vader" because that's what I did the first time I watched it. I just literally said it. I was like, "Okay, where is he?"
Right.
But the movie's not about him. We had those movies. They were called Star Wars, Empire Strikes Back, and Return of the Jedi.
Right.
And less directly those those other films.
Right.
But he was utilized, I thought, perfectly. You know, he came in when he needed to. He's the bludgeon. You know, he's the guy you call when you need legs broken.
He's
and that's what they
Spider-Man Civil
did.
War.
They gave everyone a chance to do their job. This guy Krennic dropped the ball, and so they brought in the Pitbull.
I thought it was perfect.
And he did the do. And then you find him when you watch New Hope right after, which is great. Then you're like, oh, there's that guy. He was chasing the rebels. Oh, he's right behind them. Oh my God.
I think Vader should have been. I said this to you earlier. I think Vader should have played Krennic's role, in the sense that he's like going around bossing people around.
Krennic was White Cape guy.
Yeah.
Loved him.
White Cape. White Cape. I think no, but
What?
Gee, I wonder what Matt's feelings are. You went, I loved him, and Matt went, I think a disagreement is in the works.
no, I think
I thought he was great.
I thought he was fantastic.
he gave a good performance. But I think if Vader was in that role and Vader failed the way that Krennic did, then Tarkin takes his leash, and then we see that kind of like conflict. I think that would have been really, really cool.
Well,
But that wasn't what New Hope was
And
about.
Vader
either.
wouldn't have failed in that role.
The whole reason
No, he
Tarkin
would've-
has
well,
like
well,
a
I
Vader
think-
on a leash is because of the book Tarkin, which I'm getting for Christmas.
Wait, you know what happens? You haven't read it?
No, I just know that's the premise. That's why, like in a New Hope, Tarkin's like my friend, and that was a terrible impression. But
You, my friend, are the last remnant of that the old religion.
Your ancient sorcerer's
So there's
ways.
a thing in that book that will close that gap. But I don't know, Vader in that role doesn't seem appropriate.
Or at least I think he should have been at the end. I think that he should have been the one to kill the rogues, the rogue ones.
Well, that's
That
what
I
I
agree.
thought was going to happen.
I thought
and
that's
kept
what should-
waiting for him
Yeah.
to just show up behind a door or something and just start slashing
even if you
away.
keep Krennic
been
in,
crazy.
it's just
Would've been
he
crazy.
fails and Vader's like, all right, you know what? It's obvious you guys can't handle this. I have to do this myself, and he goes and kills
Like
the rogue
Thanos.
ones one by one, and then Jen gets it off just in time, and then he goes to the Tantan 4. That's what should have been, but this just didn't happen.
See,
and then we get that sweet
I'm not.
hallway scene.
I'm not exactly sure because two things that I liked about this movie is that there were actually pretty competent stormtroopers that actually killed people.
Yes.
Yeah,
Like,
they killed some good
They
people.
they hit people with
The Death Troopers
with
are pretty
guns.
They hit people with guns.
The Death Troopers were confusing me.
And, like,
did they speak
that was
or were they
nice.
just making noises?
And
Blah, 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 blah,
I'm,
right?
I'm kind of glad that they were the people, that it was the stormtroopers to end them, because then if it was just Vader, then it brings up the argument of why do they even have the stormtroopers? Why don't they just have Vader?
Well, the danger with Vader and what I see sort of almost happening in that comic series, the one thing that I see that Vader is in danger of becoming is this omnipotent character.
Yeah.
The problem is that you have already set up the Emperor as being this ultimate
Threat.
sort of badass,
Right.
right? Who brooks no failure. So obviously, to survive in this organization, you need to get the job done and get it done constantly.
Right.
And what that means is that now they've set up this sort of box that they've painted him into, where whatever he does, he's got to come in and be the guy,
that's
and
not-
he never fails. or
That's
he
not
never-
necessarily true. 'Cause
Okay.
If you read the Star Wars comic, did
Which
you read
one,
that?
Matt?
No, Star Wars. It's
I was reading Star Wars before you were born.
No, the actual Star Wars one.
Which one?
The one, you know the one I'm talking about? It takes place between 4 and 5.
The Jason Aaron,
I don't know who wrote it, but
Series?
it's just called Star Wars.
the one that's out now.
I think it's still out now, yeah. And Vader fails all the time in that.
Yeah.
He was only in the first story
he gets,
arc.
Yeah, that's the one I read. He
And
got beaten up.
if you followed up that story in the OWN series, he brought that guy, the overseer that was in that story, brought back to the Emperor, and they tortured him to death.
that
Well,
would've
And
been
that's
great.
when the Emperor started the whole storyline. Not to spoil this series either, but the Darth Vader series revolves around Vader's replacements. I don't know how
Yeah,
vague to be.
he finds all the
that
replacements.
that the Emperor has been plotting behind his back.
And he's not happy.
And he has these cybernetic creatures, like sort of what Vader is, but not
But
force
better.
talented. Well, better, not really.
Like physically better, but not force better. You know what I mean?
physically, okay, maybe
Less impaired.
Yeah,
maybe
because
physically impaired.
Vader's like a
more bionic in the sense
Yes.
of being able to jump and do things and
Yes,
whatever. Although whatever. Anyway, so that's really stemming from, I think, also what happened in that first. So it's not that he doesn't fail. It's just that then they address it, and he then he will always overcome.
And-
yes.
And that's the danger with this character is I like the fact that he can be.
Awesome.
Well, we all love him being awesome, but where's the moment where you can sort of like, if you know he's always going to be awesome, where does that put him as a character?
Right.
That means that every time he shows up,
Something's gonna go down.
yeah,
And
I don't know.
I'm glad that they saved that I'm glad that they saved that scene because it made that scene more dramatic.
Absolutely, and that's why I don't think
And
he should
more
have been in
epic.
more of the movie, because
Right.
then you never would have gotten even to that point. He would have
Right.
killed everybody, and that's the end of it. You know?
And because also they do establish him in the prequels as being what should be the most powerful Force user alive.
Yeah.
Even in Episode 3, they say that, I think it's Sidious that says that he'll become more powerful than either of us.
Right.
And, well, aside from the fact that I feel like we never really get to see that.
Wait, you mean something happened in the prequels that never paid off down the line?
Wow.
Do tell.
What?
Well,
Jar Jar?
what that-
Midi-chlorians.
What that was, because when he had his fight with Obi-Wan and he became obviously very, very injured.
I hate you.
Exactly.
You're
Because his full potential,
Injured.
if that never happened, let's say he murdered
Oh.
Obi-Wan
Oh,
and never
God.
had that injury,
Yeah.
he would have been in his like young, prime, physically fit fighting form. And I
Ew.
feel like that's the ultimate form that Vader never achieved because he was always hindered by that cybernetic
He would have been
suit.
unstoppable.
Exactly.
would've
No,
been
see, that's where I
unstoppable.
disagree. And we're getting so off topic here.
Yeah, why don't we rein it in a little bit?
Yeah, we'll talk about that after.
I like the conversation. I like where it's going.
Yeah, but we're
It's
talking
like
about
one of the
it's
first genuine.
it's
There's
a
just like a
rogue.
bunch of nerds sitting around the table having a discussion about Star Wars. What's going on here?
How do we like the Kyber crystal tie-in? The way they did it.
The Kyber crystal was one of those things that when I was younger, I was glad that they never really went into it. Now they seem
Yeah.
to be going into it. At first, the lightsaber crystals were the Ilium crystals that they went to the planet Ilia to get, and now they've completely rewritten. That's now I
That
guess
might
has
be
become
Alien. Might be
Legends.
actually Starkiller base.
Really.
That's the rumor.
I don't know. See, it's confusing to me. I don't like a physical manifestation of the Force. I
Okay.
think the Force to me was always
It surrounds
what it,
everything.
yes, I like that's a perfect metaphysical.
The definition that Obi-Wan gave.
Yes,
is
it
surrounds
surrounds
us.
us, it penetrates us, it binds the galaxy together. That's all you need to know. It's created by all living things, and then Yoda expands on that a little bit. The midichlorian thing aggravated me, and the Force crystal kind of.
Yeah, I
don't
think the
know.
Kyber crystal should have been nothing more than a definition. You know,
The
like
Ky-
it is the thing that powers the Jedi's weapon. Fine. That sounds,
We got a
that's
little
good enough to me.
glimpse of the Kyber crystals after the radical Saw Gerrera's group when they took the tank. We saw them opening up, and then we got a little glimpse of the crystal really quick. But then Jin's also in one. Personally, I thought the crystal played more of a part because we saw those the ACTs on Scarif, and they were supposed to be carrying crystals, and they weren't.
They
So I don't know exactly.
Oh,
Ooh, here's
they
a
were there.
hypothetical for you.
sell more toys.
Yeah, right.
Well, no, that's exactly it, actually.
They-
That's
so
exactly
they
it.
so they can sell an actual crystal and have some idiot paid $10,000 for
Why
it.
do you think they made K2? Why do you think they made K2SO like the character he was? Everyone wants to buy a new droid.
But
Yeah.
especially an Imperial droid.
Exactly.
Here's a thing that popped into my head, and this could be cheating or whatever you want to call it, or shoddy plotting. But does anyone here see the possibility that her possession of that necklace perhaps saved her from that explosion at the end of the
I
thing?
really
mean,
hope-
are we buying into that even
No.
as a potential?
No.
I think she's gone.
I
know,
hope, I
you
hope
think
one-
she was
I hope
evaporated?
one- If you're struck by the Death Star's laser, you should be done.
Well, not technically struck by the laser. This is some sort of fallout.
Now, technically-
I'm just listen.
She is signed on for a second movie.
I'm
So-
one of these people that thinks that people that think Han Solo is still alive are just stupid. Okay, the guy was run through. All right, spoiler alert. The guy was run through,
The lightsaber.
insides cooked for about 10, 15 seconds, and then
then
dropped into a
dropped.
chasm. And then,
then the planet
just
exploded.
in case he's not dead, the planet exploded. So for anyone to say he's still running around out there, you are stupid. But I'll say this: I would buy Jin surviving that blast on some level.
But where is she gonna be?
I
I
would
don't
buy-
know. I'm just throwing it out there as a
Okay.
thing that popped
All
into my
right.
head
I
to
would
see
buy
how
that
you
she-
guys feel about it.
I would buy that she gets force ghosted.
Okay.
No.
I wouldn't be shocked.
No.
Okay.
Because she has the Kyber crystal, and I don't know the
But
some
I-
force mumbo jumbo.
But I feel like that.
if they're gonna
in
bring her
order
back
for
in
that-
any way, like in the future movies, it would have to be Force Ghost. I
All
don't
right,
think
so
that she's
wait, time
actually
out, time
alive.
out. The Death Star ran on Kyber crystals.
Apparently.
So
This is
wouldn't
new to me.
everyone that was in the Death Star when it blew up be fine if that was the case?
Only
Right,
because
she
of
has no force connection.
Oh, that's
She's not
true,
force
right?
sensitive.
Well, she's
not.
she's got it. Maybe it rubbed off. I don't know.
No.
Riddle me that.
Everyone
You
is
have to be-
everyone is technically force sensitive since it's biological.
It's just how many
It
midichlorians
surrounds
you
every
have.
living thing.
Or maybe it's an Indiana Jones scenario where they didn't look,
Maybe.
or he's pure of heart.
Right.
You know.
he's pure of heart.
Well, the whole Kyber crystal thing leads into the Donnie Yen and Wen Yang character.
Baze Malbus.
Great.
Blaze Malbus and Chirrut Imwe.
Yeah.
He was
Well, they
so
were
cool.
His scene on
Donnie Yen. He was a monk that was working.
For the Church of the Wills.
Was that what it's called, the Church of the Wills? And he was a protector of the Kyber crystals, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Protector of the Jedi Temple, which had the Kyber
Which had the
crystals.
Kyber crystals in it,
He
right?
seemed pretty in tune with the Force,
Yeah.
And
I'm one with
he
the
also
Force
seemed
with me.
Was he
better
Force
than a lot of the
sensitive?
Jedi
Yes.
in the prequels.
Yeah.
And he was able to sense that she had the Kyber
Yeah.
crystal on her necklace.
He was better at sensing things than prequels Yoda. Prequels Yoda was like,
I sense a plot to destroy the Jedi.
No. What's the
Couldn't be
what's
the guy sitting right next to me.
everything the dark side does.
No, wait, what's he say?
He's Irish now, Yoda.
He's green.
No, he says like we've lost the ability to use the Force. Isn't that in one?
I
Yeah.
believe it's time we tell the council we've lost our ability, or whatever. Who cares? It's a prequel line.
Yeah.
bad.
And Donnie Yen shows up, and all these other people were getting killed left and right by like one stormtrooper, and he takes on like 12 of them with a stick.
With a stick.
How about his other weapon? It was like an.
I'm glad you
yeah.
mentioned that
It was-
because
it was like a bow.
You just made me think of the scene where I
silly.
kind of rolled my eyes a little in the movie
It was
where
dumb.
the bow blaster?
Snipes the TIE
No,
fighter
no,
and then
no,
it goes into
no.
the building.
No, that was all right. You know,
was
they're
so
trying to
silly.
show you how in tune with the Force he is. But no, the part that made me laugh was you got this guy. What's his name? Baze.
Yeah.
He's got this massive gun, and he's like, braka, 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 braka. He's taking guys out left and right, and then this guy pokes his head over and goes, "Pachoo!" He shoots that one thing. It's like, okay, this guy next to you just took out 50 stormtroopers, and he went, one shot. Maybe that's why he felt he needed to take down a TIE fighter to make up for that. I don't know. It just made me laugh.
I thought it was an interesting take on
I liked
a blaster.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't know
Yes.
what that is though. I'm curious because he's got like a backpack and it's attached to the backpack. So is that like a supercharge?
No, I'm
He's
talking
talking about
about-
Baze.
talking
He's
about
talking
the-
about
Super shot.
Chirrut.
Talking about the-
Chirrut. What's his name?
Chirrut Imwe.
Chirrut Imwe.
It's like a
I'm
pump.
with the Force. The Force is one with me. I'm one with the Force. The Force.
I thought they said it was sort of like a crossbow, like what Chewbacca had.
Yeah,
It
some
looked like a
kind
bow
of.
and arrow, and he pumped it.
He pumped it.
Yeah.
he
Mm.
pumped
And
it back and forth.
it shot out a blaster bolt.
It was
kind of
cool.
thing.
I guess I'll have to watch it a third
It was pretty
time.
interesting.
Why don't we
Give
do
Disney
like
more money.
unless you have a
Oh,
script.
let's talk about the CGI.
Yes,
I have lots
I'm
of
dying
bullet
to
points.
discuss that.
Yeah. Let's. Go ahead. Start us up.
I was. Now, I'll preface this by saying that I do not want the Star Wars franchise to collapse into a bunch of CGI characters
Yes.
running around.
Michael
Until it
Bay.
eventually looks like
Like-
a Clone Wars
Michael
TV
Bay.
show.
Like,
Michael Bay,
you
like
know, like for
Transformers.
instance, if they were, for instance, if they're going to do, you know, the adventures of young Luke Skywalker, I'd rather they get what's his name, Bucky from, you know, I'd rather they get
Oh,
like a
yeah.
real Sebastian Shaw because I saw that picture
Sebastian
online.
Stan. That's,
Yeah,
What did I say?
they
I'm
look
sorry,
like-
the
that's,
guy.
that's the X-Men villain.
But he's also the guy who played
He's
Darth
also the guy
Vader.
who played it.
I would rather see real people. Okay. Having said that, I liked seeing Tarkin.
Yeah.
I thought they did him well.
I thought they did him well. I certainly thought that he was done better than. It's funny because Princess
Yeah.
Leia's in there for about 2 seconds, and I thought she looked way more fake
Yeah.
Oh,
than
she
he
looked
did.
so
He had a
fake.
lot of screen
I
time,
was the
and for a
complete
dead
other way.
man, very imposing on screen.
Sure.
You know, the way he was sort of the facial expressions they gave him, and you could see what he's thinking.
I was the other way.
Really?
I think that Peter Cushing is such a unique and talented actor. I didn't think they could capture like his gravitas, you know, in the movie.
Yes.
That's a $20 word right there.
Gravitas.
You're gonna think I'm crazy,
Crazy.
but I was like, this guy's got to be dead. This can't be him. Like that's how real it looked to me. I'm like,
You were-
I was like, this guy was like 100 in 1977. There's no way he's still alive.
You were sitting up on the balcony.
Yeah, we had better
We had
view.
better
We had
seats.
way better seats. But then I put it together. I'm like, wow, this guy CGI.
I knew that
Yeah.
he's dead because I'm a fan of the Hammer horror films that he was
Yeah,
in the
he's
50s
awesome in
and the
those.
60s and the 70s. He played Van Helsing. He played Frankenstein.
Okay.
And those are just the main characters. He did dozens and dozens of horror movies at the time, and that's like I
Yeah.
love that era. So I was aware of him dying. He died, I guess, in
94.
94 or 95 or something like that. Was it 94 for
Yeah.
sure?
Although.
Okay.
Yeah.
And but the fact that they brought him back. Well, first of all, again, it was all because of the story. You know, you need Tarkin in this because
Right.
of where it takes place. If you're gonna have it revolve around the Death Star and all that stuff, then it makes sense that he's gonna be in it at least for a little bit.
That's
Exactly.
like his thing.
He's like the second highest ranking
yes.
person in the Empire.
And
He has
I-
to be there.
He's no,
And I
I think
thought
he's
it
number
was
3. I
interesting
think
that-
Masamita is above him.
That's true,
Who's that?
actually. You're right.
Masamita, it goes Palpatine.
Vice Chancellor.
Then it's
Well, he
Vizier.
was vice chancellor, but in the Empire, his rank is Grand Vizier.
Oh, really?
And then Grand Moff.
Princess Leia, before your execution,
I thought he looked
I'd like you to
good.
be our guest at the ceremony.
No, he really
He
did,
did
look
look
good.
good.
He
He
did. I thought
did.
he looked good, but when I first saw him, I thought he looked really. He was for like the brief few seconds. I thought that was disgusting.
Say it,
Thought
don't spray it.
My bad. For a brief few seconds, I thought he was off.
Thought he was what?
I thought he was really like it didn't
Really?
mesh well for the brief few seconds.
He meshed for me a lot better than Leia did.
A couple of spots
Same,
where he's talking
same.
and his mouth doesn't
Yeah.
quite.
Yeah,
All right,
yeah.
whatever.
Leia-
But then you're
Leia
seeing it
looked
on the
like a-
giant screen.
Yeah.
Right.
Honestly,
Can't help but
I'd
notice
rather
that
have
stuff.
him in the movie like that than
Right.
not have him at all.
I would
Yeah.
rather rather it look less real, but have a better performance. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I'd rather have someone give.
You'd
their
complain about
No,
that too.
Peg,
You would
that's-
complain.
Wait, is that what you're saying? You didn't care for his
No,
performance?
like because I would rather them do what they're doing with Alden Ehrenreich. with
No,
Han
you would
Solo,
not.
No, you
and
wouldn't.
just give,
No, you
let
wouldn't.
someone else. I would.
You're
Alden
lying.
Ehrenreich.
You're
Why am I
lying through
lying?
your teeth
Alden
because you love to
Ehrenreich.
complain about everything.
No, this is an actual gripe I have. I've been all for Alden Ehrenreich since the beginning.
I am against this.
I have no problem with other people playing younger
That's what
roles.
I would rather
I have
just
zero
have that.
problem.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
but
he's
the
not.
timeline
He's not
is so
much
close.
younger. He's
the
like a
thing
week
that I'm
younger.
worried about, okay, is that they got this kid to play one of the most iconic characters
God.
ever.
Oh, he's setting up
played
for
by
failure.
one of the coolest actors
Yeah.
at the time ever.
Coolest actors ever.
At the time.
And still
Now
now.
he's devolved into an angry old man. I think at this point.
Plane
Someday I'll
crashing
tell you
man.
about the story when I met him on the street. By,
Oh, no.
I met him by Terry's.
He did something mean.
No, he didn't do anything mean. It was
Oh,
I who
good.
sort of. Anyway, all right. So what happened?
went after him.
No, I didn't. Really, all right, fine. I saw him walking down the street. I was standing in front of Terry's. So this guy walking down the street was wearing a baseball cap and a backpack and very nondescript. And I had that moment where you look at someone and
When
you're
was
like,
this?
I know this. Oh my God, 12 years ago. It was a long time ago.
Okay.
Oh, this is the older.
Long time ago, and I looking at him, and I'm like, I know this guy. Do I know him from my life, or do I know him from whatever? Because a lot of famous people in this
It's New
area.
York, yeah.
And I realized it's him, and I was like, oh, and I just sort of stepped in front of him, and I went and put my hand out, and I was like, pleasure to meet you, sir. And he like shook my hand for like a split second, he went, "Ah," and just sort of kept walking. But hey, I met Han Solo and Indiana
Hey,
Jones
there
at the
you go.
same time.
That's awesome.
But my fear is that when they say young Indiana Jones, Han Solo, that they're going to put the movie only like 3 or 4 years before A New
Oh,
Hope.
yeah.
If the
Right.
guy's going to be young Han Solo,
Right, make
I
him
want to
like a
see
teenager.
him
20s.
late teen. Right. And don't give me a week before New Hope because that's Harrison Ford.
Right.
Right.
You know?
I'm
Yeah.
against this movie entirely.
I don't know how I
It's
feel.
I don't see a necessary point in it. The point of these
It has
movies is to expand the Star Wars
They're
universe.
doing it because
and
Han Solo.
I think
Yeah,
Is that
but
the
there's-
point?
Yeah,
They're
it's
gonna
it
make
is.
think
a
it's to
lot
tell-
of money.
This is the point.
Obvious, I
Mr.
understand that, but the
Yannicelli's
Star
making the
Wars,
money sign with his hands.
I think
Star
there's too
Wars-
much risk.
it,
have
this,
We have that. Yeah, there you go.
He could. He
I
could
got it
very.
all, Renz. I got it all.
Roll.
the Star Wars universe is such a large thing. If you focus it just to appease fans, oh, here's Han Solo, here's the Millennium Falcon. I get that.
Isn't that the goal of a media franchise to
Yeah, but-
appease fans?
Yeah, but you appease them with cool characters from like Legends. Like bring back like Darth Bane or
Darth Bane's not Legends. He's canon.
no,
Yeah.
he's Legends.
All right, listen. If you're in the movie theater, let's say you're like my dad, right? And he's
Okay,
and
Dad Pegno.
He's going up to the theater and he sees The Legends of Darth Bane or The Adventures of Young Han Solo. I would put $1 million that he's gonna go see Young Han Solo.
Okay, that's
instead of
your
Darth.
dad. That's one of a lot of people.
That's my way of saying general audience.
Darth Bane.
You discovered the dark side. I was born into it. Find me my midichlorians, and then you have permission to die.
I don't know.
I think that the point of that movie is to tell an interesting story, and I like the people that are behind that camera. I mean, you got Lawrence Kasdan writing it.
Oh, the Han Solo film.
Lawrence Kasdan's writing it.
Sure.
You got Phil Lord and Chris Miller, who are excellent young directors. Alden Ehrenreich is he's a good actor.
Donald.
Donald Glover is a
Glover.
really good actor.
Emilia Clarke.
Not old Donald Glover, young Donald Glover.
Was Mon Mothma CGI'd? Or
No.
was that
No.
a different lady?
That was
She's
She's
the
lady.
one from Revenge of the Sith.
In a deleted
Okay.
scene where you guessed it, they're talking about politics.
You guessed it.
Oh my god, that council scene was hilarious to me. The scene where they're discussing what to do and they don't believe Jin.
Oh, yeah, the
And
guy
then,
in
like,
the back's like,
everyone-
"What are we we gonna
Let us
do?
speak.
No, and then like everyone behind them is always like, yeah, yeah, yeah. They always mumble after everything they say.
I didn't get a harumph out of that guy.
And can we mention how the word hope was mentioned in this movie about 40,000
I
times?
heard that ahead of time, and I didn't hear that. I heard it a few times.
I counted, so I was counting.
Okay.
I heard
What'd you come up with? What was your number?
I got like 22.
I don't believe you.
I got a lot of hope.
Hyperbole. I call hyperbole.
I heard hope in the background.
Wrong. Nope. Nope.
No, it's not hope just by the main characters. I heard hope in the background.
You know, I think, yeah, you know what, you're right. At the end of the
You love
movie,
that
when
too
the
much.
stormtroopers were shooting the droid to death, they were all going, hope, 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 hope. Yeah, that got the count up to about, I think, about 5,000.
At least.
Yeah.
They
you're,
said
you're
it
right
a lot,
about that.
though.
Oh, wait a minute.
There you go.
There you go.
There's something else. I'm sorry. Something popped into my head that I wanted to mention. I can't think of
I
it.
have a question if you want to kill some time.
Go ahead.
All right. Do you like the way that the movie looked? Do you like the grittier feel?
Yes.
I liked it
Yeah.
a lot.
I really liked it.
Yeah, I did.
I thought it showed like the real grime of the Star Wars universe, but this isn't supposed to be like a clean place, you know.
No.
This is wartime.
Yes.
I loved all the
I
different
liked it. I
settings.
liked it.
That was what made
We should talk
Star
about
Wars innovative at the time. Was a lot of science fiction was very clean and sleek, and this was a
Streamlined, yeah.
lived-in.
And then
you know,
2001: Space
that-
Odyssey came along.
Well, that was Lucas's mandate when they made all the props and stuff. I want this
Same
stuff to
dudes.
look like it's been used, you know. And,
And it
yes,
did
they
look like
certainly-
it was used.
It looked like Star Wars. That's for
I got a
sure.
very morbid idea after we saw the movie.
Of course he did.
I said, what if they hired the people who worked on the prequel CGI to do Tarkin and Leia?
I'll tell you, you're on point with that because the
ILM.
guy who pitched it apparently was this guy John Knoll. Now John Knoll is one of the creators of Photoshop, and he was one of the guys who worked on the prequels. If you ever watch the behind the scenes on the prequels DVDs, and the first one when they did the Phantom
Yes,
Menace, and they're all
yes.
sitting in a room with Lucas, and he's
is
making
this
those
with on
horrible
the-
jokes,
when
and I'm
the-
like,
Yeah.
you know, everyone looks nervous, and, right? He's the guy who Lucas yells at him. So we spent $30,000 on the suit, and we don't need it. And he's like, actually,
this guy,
the suit
right.
was So he was involved with the prequels, and I believe he was also involved with Episode 7. And he pitched this Rogue One idea, apparently, that he had this idea for, well, what about, taking place in this particular timeline and the rebels and the plans and blah, blah, blah. So you're actually right in that regard that they do have, look, it's the shadow of George Lucas is gone.
No, yeah. And I mean the team. I'm
You
just saying, like, the
understand?
people who designed Jar Jar Binks and put him on the
Doug
screen.
Chang, I think, is another guy who worked
Yeah,
on
he was in
at
Episode
least
7.
Episode 7,
Maybe
right?
maybe they just got better at their job.
I just said what the thing is. George Lucas is not involved.
Yeah.
Okay, the guy would show up and just scare people. All right, we'll put this guy in. I think he'll have a diner.
So we can drink his coffee in his director's chair.
Mr. Lucas, please don't fire me.
send you a pizza roll.
I have more on Lucas. He said once in an interview that they wanted to make a retro film, and this was another retro film. I think that Episode 8 is the opportunity for them to make another,
Yes.
like a new movie. Because
Yes.
I'm kind of getting sick of like the rehash and the retread.
They got a pass from me for Force Awakens because it needed to be the way it was. I felt
Yeah.
I
I
needed
agree.
to get sort of get everything back on track. This movie gets a pass because
It's in a certain
because
time
of
period.
when it takes place. It has to sort of have
Episode
that look.
8 is brand new.
Episode 8
Better
really
be.
needs to
Yeah.
be different, or you're gonna
Yeah.
have because as much as you say that the Star Wars. See, I've worried about this for a long time. There's only to me.
up late at night. And just
Well, there's only so much you can do, with Star Wars.
Yeah.
Okay. It follows a trajectory of family plots and
It's a
and
soap opera.
redemption and yes. So unless you're going to literally play that over and over and over again, and how many twists can you put to it? Now it's a girl. It's not Luke anymore. I'm sorry.
Now it's a girl.
female. Whatever verbiage I'm supposed
What
to
a
use. I
twist.
apologize if I offended anyone. I don't know anymore. Yeah, that's right. But you can only shake it up so much. Ultimately, we saw Star Wars. We liked Star Wars. I don't know what else.
If you're
I
gonna
worry
make
that
more
these.
movies make them new.
Yeah, well, they have to break. They have to at this point, and I think they're starting to broach this topic in.
That too.
Well, they're starting to broach this in the Rebels cartoon because now they're dealing with the Gray Jedi, right? And
Yeah, well,
the
that-
Bendu,
The
sort
Bendu
of that.
is like he's like a force sensitive, kind of omniscient creature.
But he talks about not being light or dark,
Right,
so
he's
it's
kind
sort of
of
like
in-
walking that
right,
middle.
exactly.
Obi-Wan might be coming into this.
I'll tell you, I would love to see an Obi-Wan
We're gonna talk about that
standalone.
later.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
talk about that later.
Why don't we
Jumping
talk
on
about
it.
like the
the
settings,
best.
the different
Sure.
planets?
Good.
So I think Yavin looked fantastic.
Nice
they did
to
a great
see it.
job with that. Jeddah, I didn't like.
Is that the beach?
No, that
No,
was
Jedda's the
Jedda's
first planet with that statue, the broken.
Oh, right,
sword
right,
arrows.
right.
the,
Yeah.
of the other desert planet.
The other
in
desert
Star
planet.
Wars.
I loved the beach.
The Scarab was
The fact that they had
was great.
walkers in the beach.
In a moment where Jin walks out onto the thing and she's watching all these explosions happen, and I'm just sort of thinking like what she's thinking, like, wow, this is a great view, but
Yeah.
too bad everything is blowing up.
Too bad all my friends are down there.
You know? It's beautiful here. I'd love to come back and not get killed.
So Jeddah felt. I know it was supposed to give that feeling, but I felt like too small. I know they were like kind of on like the top of a rock, but it felt really congested, like more than it needed to be.
The city, you mean?
Yeah.
See, I thought that gave it a bit of that Star Wars vibe, you know,
No,
because if you think
absolutely,
about
yeah.
like
That
Mos
gritty-
Eisley
that
and all that
gritty
stuff.
kind of place,
But
yeah.
that
Yeah,
was-
like kind of claustrophobic.
And that place was tense.
Speaking
It
of Mos Eisley,
Dr. Everson.
And
what's his face?
those guys.
Paolo Poom-
Yeah.
Paolo-
Watch yourself.
I would love it if in every
cameo.
if in every like spin-off movie, like those guys just bump into someone and then they're like, "Hey, watch yourself," and then just picking fights all over the galaxy. Now that'd be funny.
That would be good.
He was right on his way to get his death sentence in another system.
I got the
I love the reveals of the Death Star,
Oh my
and also
God.
the.
How much
the
do you love it?
Yeah, that much. That much. Do it like 5 more times. That much. The reveals of the Death Star and the Star Destroyers. I thought, like the camera angles, the way
Yes.
the way they showed them. I thought that was great.
Just, when you mentioned that, I was disappointed that this movie
That's
didn't
not
have.
how you use the lamp, the lantern.
Oh, that's the wrong hand.
Right. All right.
Anyway.
I was disappointed how they utilized the Empire in this movie. I thought we would see more of them and more like the wrath of the Empire.
Yeah,
Because I feel
I
like
had an argument with this with this over the weekend, and I'm
oh
like,
yeah,
I-
it's not
and
like
my
they
answer
killed
to
all the
every-
people.
No.
Yeah, I'm like, it's not like they blew up like 3 planets.
thinking
you,
exactly
you
what I'm
see
thinking.
in like you see in like Rebels how they have like the
We gotta stick to this movie.
I know, but like Rebels they have like the propaganda everywhere. You see the Empire has like a presence that's scaring the
They
people.
had a tank going through the middle of the town.
I think he keeps mentioning the Rebels because it sort of takes place in the same time.
It does. It takes
line.
place
And
right
we-
before
here we
there
just-
are
Rogue
sort of
One.
ripples between the
I
two.
think the problem with this was they just focused with all Star Wars in general. They just focus on a particular group when we don't see like Lothal. That's a place that would be interesting to see like in a movie where you could see like all the things going on with the Empire. You give me all these looks all you want. I'm saying logical
I agree,
stuff.
I
right?
agree with Brendan. I
Lethal's
agree with-
awesome.
Yeah, it is great. You know
what?
like Lazy Town.
You know what happened the last
it
time
is.
Star
Talking
Wars?
Town.
You know what happened the last time Star Wars tried to do politics? We got a lot of bad stuff.
Galactic Empire.
Well, there should have been politics in The Force Awakens. That's the only time you'll ever hear me say that, because they blew up the
Wrong.
with some system, and they had no
spoilers.
They had no significance to the movie because we didn't know what was happening.
I will give you that there maybe could have been a little more explanation of who's doing what and the importance of those planets being destroyed. But I don't know what you're saying about the Empire because no one walked out of this movie alive.
No, you're right, but
And they
And
blew
they
up 2
sent
planets in
massive
this
walkers
movie.
at-
Blew up
them.
2 planets.
Yeah.
because
they just-
there's a beauty in this movie where you had
Destroyed a beach.
you had
kill
like
count.
you had
That
new
was like some nice
technology to.
Look at all the walkers they sent after them. They sent more
I
AT-ATs after
I
them.
thought there'd be more stuff with like the Empire in regular cities and towns.
They had a
Okay,
tank going through the
no,
middle
I know
of
what
the town.
he means. And he was Brendan is expecting more of that sort of tank going through the town. Darth Sidious, like posters on the wall, like
Which
obey
would be
the Emperor.
hysterical.
Which would be.
Yeah, just like I can imagine like giving
Sheev
like the gun
Palpatine's
fingers. Like,
face.
He's saying that for an empire, there was too much freedom for the citizens to go around doing whatever they want.
Not even free. There's too much rebels. I wanted to see more Empire in
Like,
general.
The empire should have had more control.
I mean, this
over
was
the
about
systems.
the Death
I
Star.
got to disagree with you because from the very beginning, the Empire was a presence, but not an overwhelming presence. Okay,
Then why
they're
do people
there.
hate them so much?
Well, it's just the fact you hate them because you
'Cause it's-
discovered the look. If you're an average schmuckadoo living on one of these planets, okay,
Brandon.
okay, like let's say,
Thank you.
okay, everyone's pointing at peace out. If you're an average schmuckadoo, you don't know all of the atrocities. You don't know unless something happens to you firsthand. You're not privy to the Emperor and his Sith
Right.
machinations. You don't know any of that stuff. All you know is that you live in this environment where it's hard to get any relief. It's hard to it's hard to live with these guys just deciding to randomly bully you like they did in this movie. They grabbed a bunch of people in the street.
Let me see your identification.
Where's your ID? And the guy, going into the house is like, okay, time to go. I mean, they can't always be. I don't know. I don't know. I guess
And
you can
people
make a
hate them
case.
because they're an empire. Like no one wants to be ruled
But
by.
I think most people don't care. That's sort of the point of the rebellion, is that stuff like
Right.
this happens because people aren't affected.
Yeah.
They care when it affects them. So the idea is, people go about their daily lives and they do whatever,
Right.
but
And
they
it's-
don't realize that this horrible, they're building this
Right.
weapon that's going to blow up planets.
It's not like they're managing every little bit of every
Right.
single
I know.
person's
Right.
life.
Real life continues.
They just control the big
Everything.
picture.
exactly.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, and the supreme leader is a monster man who shoots lasers out of his fingers.
Yeah, and spins
true,
lightning.
yeah.
That'd be really
spins.
He does spin.
Aside from that, I'd also like to see in a future Star Wars movie different
We're gonna get that.
locations.
That's a whole nother
Yeah,
question.
yeah.
Real quick, who's your favorite character / scene of the movie?
Slash.
I think we could
Like
I
one
think
or
we
the
could
other.
come
You
to
can either pick a
unanimous-
character or you can pick
I think
a
we
scene.
can get scene.
What was
right
your
out of
favorite
the
part
way.
of the movie?
Yeah,
My
let's all
favorite
get
scene is a
scenes.
scene with a lot of slashing. And
Yeah,
that
the
is
Vader scene.
Mr. Vader.
Yeah,
I think
the
are we
last-
all going to agree that
The
it's a
last
Vader
5
scene?
minutes were great.
How,
Okay, is it-
when we talk about scene, how much time? are
Whatever
we
you
talking?
want.
The 47 seconds of Vader
55.
annihilating whatever it is, of Vader just walking
Is
down
it
a
only
hall.
that long?
Yeah, it's only 55 seconds.
down
Feels
a-
like,
kidding.
yeah, it
It's only
feels like
like
forever,
Walking
but
down
it's
a
only 55.
hallway and annihilating people.
So like
Puts the dude on the
individuals.
ceiling and then slices.
Without even looking at him.
it's
And then
great.
people were saying, "Oh, he's so spry in that scene." I didn't
He's
think
not
so.
that spry.
I
I
didn't
didn't
think
think so.
no.
He was
He's
still
not
clumsy.
He
He
wasn't
was-
I wouldn't say
bouncing off-
clumsy,
he wasn't
but
bouncing off
you know what I
walls
mean.
though,
not.
like Yoda.
Yeah, he's not
Yeah.
like.
His
He's
power.
sort of using his abilities. He
Yeah.
raises the guy. He pulls the guns. He's you
His
don't
lower,
really have to do
his
much.
lower body wasn't doing much.
No,
He was just
it's
like-
a fish in a barrel. You know what I'm saying? You just have to
Yeah.
keep swinging.
That's
You're
sort
gonna kill
of-
everybody
Now
eventually.
I am the master.
That's
Yeah,
sort of
right.
the main difference between Anakin Skywalker, especially if you've seen like the Clone Wars TV show.
Mm-hmm.
He was very, very acrobatic.
Yes.
And,
Right.
Yes.
And because he was like I said, he was very acrobatic as like when he was younger. But after that sort of injury, he has to rely more on his force powers
He
and
went
his
from, like-
and his brute strength.
He went from like
when
a
he fights with-
Taru kind of.
Well, right, Form 4 to Form
Yeah.
Form 7.
Yeah.
How'd you like his hot water bath?
I thought that was
back to
great.
That's pretty cool.
Oh
right?
wait,
His castle was amazing.
Yeah.
his
Yes.
castle was great, but the
Yes.
voice. And you said it's no big deal. I thought the voice was very off.
Here's the problem with the voice.
I know James Earl Jones is old,
That's the problem.
but
with the
I know
voice.
they have the technology available. to
Nah,
make
you
it.
can't. You hear it. Look,
I'd rather have
we
I
watched.
heard
We
James
watched
Earl
the.
Jones.
You saw the Blade Runner trailer
I did.
today, and at the very beginning is a clip of Harrison Ford talking. I knew it was him from 30 years ago because he just doesn't sound like that
Yeah, now
anymore.
he sounds
So he talks more like this when he talks. And back in the
And
day,
Carrie
he had
Fisher,
it-
same way.
She sounds
She sounds like a little like this.
It's from all those.
Hope.
Yeah, don't do drugs, kids.
Don't judge drugs. Look, none of my teeth are real. But it's tough to do that. So all we're hearing in the voice is just his age. He's still got that bass,
Yeah,
basso
right.
profundo,
Yeah,
whatever.
I don't have a problem.
Because
I don't really have a
in-
problem
I
with
thought
it.
he
Real
was fine.
James Earl Jones.
Because
That's
I heard
what we
more.
got.
I hear it in Rebels too. I heard more James Earl Jones than I did Darth Vader.
But I still get the presence.
I get
Well,
the no, no, no,
contemplate this on the Tree of Woe. No one got that reference.
What's
That's
that?
James Earl Jones from Conan the Barbarian.
Yeah.
When he crucifies Conan on
Oh,
the tree.
crucify him.
Yeah. Sorry, I went off topic.
It's all good. What about the Easter eggs? You guys like the Easter eggs?
Loved.
There were lots of them.
Too much.
They were.
Mr. Okay, you know we're not even gonna mention
there's
those.
not. Come
Just what we're gonna
No,
do.
there
We're
was-
gonna
there were too many
recommend you.
pointless things.
I'm going to recommend Mr. Sunday Movies. Mr. You're familiar with
Yeah.
the channel. He has a whole 15-minute video on all the Easter eggs and cameos.
There were that many.
There were a lot, like from Rebels, from the Clone Wars, from just everywhere.
Oh, one of them was a Rebels thing when they were on Yavin. And
Chopper.
Ghost.
Yeah, a General Syndulla. General Syndulla.
Or the
It's
Ghost
one of
was
the
there.
characters
It's in the
from
battle,
that,
too.
That
Yeah.
cartoon.
Yeah, and their ship, the Ghost, is there, and their droid Chopper is there.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff. We can't fit it all.
I thought at some points like it was like a little too much like hitting you over the head. Like the scene that I feel perfectly captures that is when they're in like the rebel meeting room, and then Bail Organa just kind of steps up and they play music, and then the scene ends. Doesn't even say anything.
All right, I'll give that one to you.
I was like,
I'll give that one to
did
you.
you really just put Bail Organa in the shot and then
Just to have Bail Organa.
just to have Bail Organa?
And they
in the
play
shot?
the
Hey,
Force
guys, look,
theme
it's Bail
too.
Organa.
Look, this is about 3 hours before he blows up with the rest of
Yeah,
them.
but
That was
The
when he
funniest
had to
moment in
go.
the
I have to warn my people.
I have to go back to Alderaan.
Ooh, I'm not sure if you should
You
go
may
there.
fire when ready.
If I wasn't ready.
If I wasn't ready.
And then there's the Obi-Wan reference, I guess, is
Yeah.
fine.
How's your
and-
friend on Tatooine? He's good. I think we could use his help. And this and cuts away with the Force theme playing.
But I did
does not
think that,
play
like,
himself.
we have this cast of characters now, and I think we can still do films in this era with more Vader, you know, because I think this opened it up to
More.
do a lot more stuff in that.
There is a gap between Empire and Return of the Jedi where there is nothing.
There's a
But that-
year, yeah. There's
There
there's
is
a year.
there's 3 years I think. Between
I don't know. Either way, there's,
Where?
between Empire and
I don't
Jedi,
remember
but there is
canonically if it's a
literally
year.
nothing. there.
Timeline-wise, I believe there's 3 years between New Hope and Empire, and 1 year between Empire and Return of
It
the
is-
Jedi.
it is
Isn't
1 year?
Isn't
Either way,
Luke
though,
just
that's a lot of
finishing his
time.
training?
No, but he doesn't.
And how long did it take to
Dagobah?
find Han Solo
I think
when
it's
you
a- I
know
thought
where
it's
he's
a-
going?
I thought
You
it's
know
a-
what I mean? Like,
Well, they had to get Lando in there.
well, that was a big thing in a Marvel comic when we were kids. You know, I don't know if you read the original Marvel comic that came out when those movies were out, but that was a big thing. You know, the comics adaptation dealt with them trying to find where Han Solo was, and then it's like, oh, there he is, hanging on a wall. You know? I guess we should have just come here and waited for him instead
either
of
way-
looking for him all over the galaxy.
But either way, there is that gap. So I know what
There
I
is
know
a
what you're saying.
giant gap. and I think
I don't have a problem with that.
There's plenty of opportunities to do Vader. I always thought it
Yeah,
would be
absolutely.
intriguing to see him do like a Jedi Hunt movie, you know, or something
Yeah.
like that, where
Because the only
Like,
time you really see
directly
Vader
after-
is him dealing with Luke. You don't
right,
know.
or deal with him coming to grips with being Darth
Directly
Vader.
after
Yeah.
Revenge of the Sith would be cool.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Why don't you bring up Alex's question that he asked us earlier today?
Okay. Alex
Cantave.
asked, "Does Rogue One add to the Star Wars universe? Do we think it adds to the Star Wars universe?"
Yes.
Yes.
Tremendously.
Tremendously. Okay.
I do like the ending, and I think that adds a lot to A New Hope. I think that actually made A New Hope
Yeah.
better for me.
I agree.
Yes.
I
which
agree.
is
Yeah.
which I did not expect it to do.
It
and
also-
I feel like that automatically makes. I like Revenge of the Sith maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less. I'm not sure. I still have to give it some time. But it has a sheave spin, so
Yeah.
Who?
The
sheave
sheep
When he
spin.
jumps from behind his desk and starts twirling. I love it. I love it.
But I think that it's maybe the best prequel because it,
Well, obviously.
It is.
but because it helps, because it adds to the story. Because I felt like you don't feel any emotional impact in the
Mr.
other ones.
Ventrella is having
Well, now it makes some of the
a
lines.
seizure, an aneurysm.
It makes some of the
Sure.
lines in a New Hope sound so stupid because they're like, "Oh, this is a counselorship to Alderaan."
Yeah,
I
they're
saw you
trolling
leave.
him.
I saw you leave with the plan. Stop lying to
Although,
me.
It
one
could've been like
thing
3
that
weeks.
I do like is when you see all those people lining up, when they're just getting boarded by the Imperial forces, and all of the rebels are lining up in the hallway, and they look scared out of their minds.
It's funny you say that because it's funny you say that because I was watching that too, maybe last night or the night before, and my thought that popped into my head was that if you're one of those rebels and the door explodes and you're like, oh good, it's only stormtroopers. like, oh my god, Is it- no, oh, phew. Okay, we got a chance with these guys. You know, I would be super terrified.
Yeah,
With
if-
just watch your friends get butchered in a hallway,
red
and now it's
light.
like, oh, he's coming for us now. But the horror in that scene.
Oh
Yeah.
my god!
It was like
Where
it was
you
like a
just
slasher
hear the
movie.
breathing
Oh.
for a moment, and then the lightsaber ignites, and there
hear
he
the
is.
foot-
when he went through the guy's chest and the door.
And the door.
Oh my
Footsteps,
god!
you hear footsteps.
Footsteps, whatever it is, and you hear like boom, and then the light goes on, and the lighting in that room was amazing because it was all black and red.
Yes.
and it was just
In a New Hope in the conference room on the Death Star, if you notice, there's a chair
Missing.
Oh, there's a chair. Someone's not there. Krennic was probably supposed to be there unintentionally, of course.
Why bring
But
this up?
Yeah,
I
I saw
actually-
that.
I
I
saw
saw
this-
that. I watched that video too. I think on YouTube they talked about little. That's one of those Easter egg
Yeah.
things that they pointed out.
It's probably just
Yeah.
Vader's
There's
chair.
an
He
empty
just didn't
ch-
feel like sitting.
Yeah.
Vader was in the big chair.
So no, that's Tarkin's chair. He's ahead of
Governor
him.
Tarkin.
Let's end on
High chair.
on this question. And I think some of you guys might have even answered it already. What Star Wars movie do you want to see? What's an offshoot or a Star Wars story? Not even necessarily part of the legacy.
Can I
ones.
talk about 3 or 4?
Let's just give.
How about we do
let's
one
just
at a
give
time?
I mean, aside, I think we all
I
want
mean,
to see.
I'm with Mr. Ventrella. I want to see a Darth Vader standalone movie.
Yeah.
Like Vader Down comic strip.
Something like that.
Aside
cool.
from an
Just doing
Obi-Wan,
dirty work.
aside from an Obi-Wan movie, I'd love to see like either an Empire movie or a Darth Vader movie. Like with the Empire movie, like I'm saying, the other disaster.
Like, what would they do?
Like different from Empire Strikes Back. Like
Yeah, like hunting, like
More
when they're
Senate
trying to find
meetings?
the rebel base, finding like trying to find the rebel base.
our last meeting.
And we could see that
it back.
that oppression I was talking about, like seeing that, and like maybe see the rebels as the villains this time instead of villains.
where would this fit into the timeline?
Post episode 5.
Post episode 4,
There was no
post
s-
episode
there was no
5. It
Senate.
doesn't.
Yeah, it was
It
disbanded.
doesn't matter. It's just
Just received word that the Emperor has dissolved the council permanently.
the remnants of the
That's
Republic.
impossible.
See, the movie I want is between Sith and Rogue One,
Okay.
Sith and
Yeah.
Rogue One.
and it's
okay.
it's Darth Vader learning how to be Darth Vader with the suit. Did you read Vader Down?
so much.
I did.
I love that.
Just
whole
because-
story.
But that was another example of, omnipotent Vader. Here he
But
is.
that's what I want. I love the villain.
I do. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
my favoriteest character. I
Right.
mean, of all the Star Wars stuff that I have, 98% of it is Darth Vader stuff.
Right.
Just because I always thought the design is just so damn
it's
cool.
great.
Yeah.
But yeah, like
But there's a long time between Sith and Rogue One,
19
right?
years.
Yeah.
yes. So this
19.
is like a year one, type situation with Vader,
Vader
where he's,
year one.
he's learning to kind of come to grips with being a cybernetic organism.
When there's like
And it's
a-
funny you say that. Like he's you make him become this omnipotent being because like when I was yesterday I was watching Empire again, and him and Luke are having this fight, and I'm like, according to Rogue One, the way he was fighting in Rogue One, this should have been a cakewalk. Like Luke should have been dead in 10
No,
seconds.
I'll tell you, the
He's
dead
playing
giveaway to that battle.
One
Okay,
hand.
if you next time you watch it,
Mm-hmm.
so Luke shows up in the carbon freezing chamber and he hears Darth Vader breathing, and you're not a Jedi. He walks
Yeah.
up the stairs, and what's the first thing that he does is Luke takes out his lightsaber, he goes "Bzzz," and he lights it. Right? Watch Darth Vader. Okay, he's in full silhouette. You don't even see his hands, but all you see is his blade very lazily, he's like, all right, now I'm going to have some fun. Now I'm going to kind of take
and
your
I-
measure, you little pup, and I'm going to,
Yeah, he messes
and
with
he could have spanked
Yeah.
Luke at any time.
Yeah, remember we
the
started
point of
throwing
that
things at
battle
him?
was,
While he's fighting.
I'm in control here.
Yeah.
That by the time he's slapping him with all that equipment in that room, it's very clear who's
He's
going to win
toying
this
with-
battle.
he's
Right.
toying with him.
And then at the end, he's like,
then he
Luke
gets-
doesn't have a chance.
he gets angry.
You are beaten. Well, he gets mad because Luke actually lands a shot on his,
And then
on
he's
his
like,
and you literally hear him like he's like, I've had it with you. But yeah, watch that scene again.
Okay.
Just the way he ignites his lights,
Yeah.
it's just like a very slow, like, okay, here we go. We've been waiting for this.
Playtime.
Yeah, Luke is all like, okay, I'm gonna fight you. It's just, please, don't even bother. In terms of the movies that I would like to see, I would love to see a Darth Vader film. I would love to see. I'm salivating to see this Ben Kenobi thing because I did like Ewan McGregor. I thought he was a great part of those movies.
He's the best part.
Arguably the best.
Yeah.
Okay.
Arguably.
I would also
Besides Sheev.
maybe like to see, it just popped into my head, like you could have a lot of fun with like a young Yoda character. Like let's
That'd
see,
be
the
cool.
origins of Yoda. Where did he
with a
come
comb
from?
over?
Who said that today in the club, in Sci-Fi Club? Someone said they want to see a Yoda origin.
Well, they're
I
gonna
said
do it in the
that
comic.
on the disaster.
It might have been
podcast.
Dave.
I want to see a movie though.
Yeah, the
I
next
wanna see a
issue
movie.
of the Star Wars comic that's out now is supposedly some sort of, not an origin, but like a sort of a
How
look
young
at
do you
Yoda.
go? Like,
No,
I think
Let's get him
I
like
think that's a
Tadpole, man. Let's see this guy. Maybe
his
he's not such a
prime.
nice, maybe he's not such a, maybe he's a ne'er do well that grows up in the
Yo-
streets. I don't
Yoda's
know. What the hell do I know?
Yoda is born 100 years after the fall of the Old Republic. After that final, that the
I kinda wanna
the
see him
big
in his
war
prime.
between the Sith and the
Yeah,
Jedi
comb over.
that results with the creation of the Rule of Two.
Yes.
Yoda's born 100 years after that. So like I'm not sure.
So there's
where-
no Sith,
There's
right?
two of them.
But I'm saying, I mean, they're in
Yeah,
hiding
yeah,
at this
yeah,
point
yeah.
because
At this
point.
when Phantom,
For 1,000 years.
when Phantom Menace happened, they say, well, they haven't seen the suit. They haven't
In
been
1,000
around for
years.
1,000 years or whatever it is. I don't
So
know.
you can't really do too much.
Right.
Yeah,
Dark
but you can
Plagueis established
set up
I-
some. I don't know. You can
Not
sound
Dark,
like
it was
a
Bane.
writer.
Sorry, Dark
you know,
Bane.
the trick to good CGI is making it look like a puppet.
No,
So they got to
see-
master that.
Yoda.
I
in
mean,
the
unless there
prequel-
was something that you
Look,
like.
If he looks like a Muppet.
The only thing is,
Not a
unless there
problem.
was something that Yoda like
Here, this is Yoda.
hid. If there was some type of conflict that kind of got pushed under the rug because
Yo-
they didn't want to ensue any.
How did he get to be Grandmaster?
Yeah.
I want to
Who
see
we
that.
talking about? Oh, Yoda.
Yoda.
Yeah, how did he get to be Grandmaster of the Jedi Order?
Well, he's 1,000 years old. Yeah,
Everyone else died.
He basically outlived everyone else. You know?
He still must have done
See, the thing
something,
is,
though.
Yoda
Like,
was
he's
ru-
always respected by everyone, and I guess it's definitely not just because he's really old. He must have done something. and you
Yoda
see
was
it when-
ruined
when-
in the
when he
prequels.
fights Dooku. No,
Yeah,
he
but they
wasn't. He was
ruined
better
him
in the
no,
prequels.
they ruined him in the prequels.
I mean, like,
He did nothing in the original.
Look, I'm not
trilogy,
going to
though.
say that when I saw Attack of the Clones, I wasn't excited. Like, oh, good, Yoda's fighting. But the more you think about it, it's
yeah,
like,
it's
Yeah.
stupid. I didn't want
it's
to see
such
it.
the antithesis of that character. He tells
Yeah.
Luke not to fight.
And it
he
makes
tells Luke not to bring his weapons into the cave.
But the reason he does that is because I feel like he's learned from because he lived through the Clone Wars and he's like all the horrors he saw in the Clone Wars. That's why he's saying that to Luke because he doesn't want that to happen again.
Yeah, all right.
Well, when did he crack? Did he crack after episode 3 and just become like
He
a
did.
crazy
No,
Yoda?
I really think he did.
Become like a crazy old
Well, 20
hermit,
years on a swamp planet will, take all
Digging-
the fight out of you, I think.
digging through people's
you rather
bags
see,
for
like-
like Kit Kat bars.
Wouldn't you rather like to see an
Raise an
Old
X-Wing.
Republic movie? Because there's a lot with the Sith Empire.
I'll tell you why I could care less. Because it's essentially going to be a rehash of the original
And we-
thing.
right,
It's
we would need all
what
new characters.
What would you need? You would essentially need to do the same movies over again.
No. It's like literally a bunch of Jedi
But
versus
you would
a
need
bunch
all
of
new
Sith.
characters, and I'm not sure
Yeah.
everyone's ready
You
for
need
all
protagonists.
new characters. Yeah.
You need antagonists. You need a compelling storyline. You need some sort of bringing in the Force and how it works.
Pod racing event.
Unless you're going to
Ben
explore...
Quadraneros.
Ha! Unless you're going to explore the nature. I'm sorry. I think I just blew
No, it's
everyone's
fine.
ears out
That's
with the
fine.
laugh. I was warned not to laugh.
Too hardly.
I'm just- what was I saying?
I don't know.
Went off the
I don't
rails?
know.
I
Old
I got
Republic.
one.
Oh yeah,
Couldn't
if
care
you're going to
less.
explore like maybe the nature of the Force and how it's changed, but I think they're starting to do that in the Force Awakens.
Awakens.
You know, like so who knows? Who knows?
Yeah.
Right.
And I think they should do a Boba Fett movie in between 5 and 6.
No.
No, I know he's a
No
boring
one
character, but this is the
cares.
one chance. That's a lie that
I
no
do
one
not
cares.
Had a
care
good idea,
about
though.
Boba Fett.
I think
Listen
I
to
think
his
I have
idea.
a good idea though.
Let's hear it.
He's got a
Because
good idea.
I admit that he's a lame character
Oh,
based on
what?
the source
How
material.
he has
It's
to.
because no one tells anything.
Let him talk.
You
Pan
don't
down.
learn anything about
Starfield.
it.
Starfield.
A spaceship
I
cuts through
think
the
we should.
darkness.
I think they should do. Well, obviously Han Solo is he's a wanted outlaw. He's got a big number on his head from Jabba the Hutt, and we saw that in Empire Strikes Back. And I think when he gets away with the body, I think that other bounty hunters should try and go after him.
They
And I
did that
think-
in the comics.
They did.
Yep.
Oh,
Shadows
Well,
of the Empire.
Why is that a yes?
That means there's another idea they can't use.
That's a lie. They used all the legends.
Back in '96,
Yeah.
they came out with this thing that took place between Empire and Return of the Jedi, which was called The Shadows of the Empire, and it basically was a multimedia platform. They did video games, novels,
That sounds like
comics,
so much fun.
but a lot of it centered around the comics anyway, centered around Boba Fett and the fact that IG-88 and Bosk and all those guys were trying to steal Han Solo.
That'd be like a
en
really
route.
cool, like,
He
Maltese
has
Falcon.
to literally race him to the front of Jabba the Hutt's
That'd be really
palace.
cool, right?
And I feel like that's
Other
not,
people are
not
shooting
that
down
well
the slave
known, so
one.
I see a movie of that working.
Okay,
It would really
Okay,
work.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
I mean, in
Boba Fett's
hindsight,
cool.
I mean,
I mean,
he is.
like
He's really
the
cool.
look is cool.
in
The look
hindsight,
is cool.
The look is cool,
The look-
and and if you give a cool story to that character, I think it would
But
mesh very well.
in hindsight, all he could do is just go to hyperspace to Tatooine and go to Boba and go
You know
to
how many
Jabba.
times
rather.
ships have been interrupted in hyperspace travel throughout the Star Wars
Yeah, I
universe?
think they attacked him in hype. I don't remember
Yeah,
the
that
details,
happened.
yeah,
but
they could do something. There's a story there. That's all I'm saying, and I think it could be a good one.
Cool. Any suggestions? Suggestions
I-
is when we tell
I-
people
I
to
have
check
one.
out some science fiction stuff. That mine is Westworld. Go check out Westworld. People are
I'm planning on
still
watching
not
it over the
watching this
break.
show.
I haven't been able to watch it.
See, I've been telling people to watch the show for weeks.
Corey
no
handed
one's
me a
watching
flash
it.
drive with it on it, and it's in a format that I can't watch. I have to download a VLC player, which I still haven't done
that's
yet.
easy.
But go
Yeah,
out and
that's
watch
an
that
easy
show.
one.
The show's really good.
I'm planning on watching that. And for anyone that's like trying to go to the movies over the break, I will be seeing La La Land. I've been really looking forward to that one. That's directed by Damien Chazelle. That's the guy who did Whiplash. So if you like that, you'll probably like this. And then Manchester by the Sea, I saw the other day. That was really, really good. I suggest that to anyone that wants to go see like a good drama.
Cool.
Wait, I thought these were science fiction.
I told
suggestions.
it's whatever.
Westworld.
Westworld
Science fiction suggestion.
I don't
Look,
know. Actually, the funny thing is that I'm not much of a, for all my love of Star Wars, I'm not really a big science fiction guy. But I would say, in terms of the stuff that I do know, if you've never checked out any of the Aliens movies, you should. If you've never checked out Blade Runner, which a lot of people haven't seen, you should. If you've never seen, oh boy, I can't think of anything else off the top of my head. Those two things for sure.
Cool.
I actually have one. It's not really, no, actually nowhere near Star Wars, but it's a horror movie, and I like horror movies. We covered this in our horror movie episode, and it's on Netflix. It's called The Babadook. It came out in 2014.
Oh, I heard this is excellent.
And
me too.
I
it's
did
one of
hear
the
about it.
few.
I watched it.
Have you seen it? Did you
Yes.
like it?
I did.
It's one of the few like sci-fi movies, or good sci-fi movies on Netflix that I haven't seen yet. And I was like, I've heard it was good. I tried it out. I really liked it. I don't want to give anything away, but it's
How do you say it? Babadook?
The Babadook. It's on Netflix.
Okay.
Just look it up. 2014 it came out. It's a sci-fi horror movie. I thought it was really
Cool.
good. Check it out.
Very good.
Rogue One.
Oh God, you're the worst.
Or read The Catalyst, the
All right,
prequel
fine.
to
That's
that.
a good one.
Or-
Is he suggesting the film we just spoke
Yes.
about for 2 hours?
Yes.
Or the band
Yeah,
Catalyst.
check out the band Catalyst. Don't check out.
They're
the
performing in your area.
I requested them to perform in my area and have not
I
heard
don't know what
back.
they're doing.
That was nowhere near as bad as his suggestion during the summer.
Oh, go have some fun outside.
Yeah, go
I-
outside and have some fun. That's
You know what?
it
That
says.
is valuable advice. Sorry to say.
Boom.
Demo? You have one? No? You're good. All right. I'm going to play my outro music. There it is. Thanks to Ms. Ventrella for coming in.
Thank you for having
This
me.
was a
Have a
very
good
good
evening.
show.
This was good.
It was a
Really
blast.
appreciate it.
Do it
You
again.
can follow us on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, at XSquadPod. Please email us comments, stump the sap questions, any show topics, or anything else you want to hear us discuss at xsquadpod@gmail.com. You can get your free comic book out of it. You can listen to us on iTunes, SoundCloud, Google Play by searching X-Squadron Podcast. Thanks to Andrew Brooks, William Shelton for making our music for us, Esteban Rivera, Corey Sheridan, and Mike Moran. All right, guys, we'll see you next week when we talk about, what, maybe Assassin's Creed? We'll see.
We'll see.
Well, you know.
Maybe Lord of the Rings.
Oh, have a Merry Christmas, everybody.
Yes, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Don't choke on your ambitions, director.